Hello everyone, it's Oliver Harper here, and I'm back again with a new commentary. And Nick Helm is here with me to discuss the 1987 movie Predator.
Yes.
Yes. Big fan of Predator, are you?
Yeah. I am a big fan of Predator.
Good. Hope you've done your research then.
I've done no research. We'll see.
Okay, folks, if you wish to sync the commentary with your own copy of the film, put the timestamp to 0 and press play.
Now. I did it. The old 20th Century Fox logo. The old one from the 80s there.
That's right, yeah. Interestingly enough, for Die Hard, John McTiernan had the Fox logo in a different aspect ratio, so it's all stretched, basically to say F you to Fox for not letting him shoot Predator in CinemaScope.
Oh, wow. John McTiernan, a very petty man. Not afraid to break the law.
This is one of those movies.
Does suffer the consequences.
One of those movies, when I did a review for this on my channel, like, if you ever watch this on TV and you missed this opening act for the first time, you'd have no fucking clue what's chasing them or what's after them, if it's an alien, because this sets it up that this is...
Yeah, sure, but I also think that it worked. I mean, it's basically the same opening as The Thing.
Yes, it does. Yes, true, yeah.
And I like the fact that there's actually, I think that it's really cool that there's a spaceship at the beginning. I think it's really great, but... I wonder what the film would be like without that.
Oh yeah, that would the mystery of who it is. It would just be played on for so long till you figure out. Oh my god, it's actually an alien monster.
But
you figure it out when you see the hand, don't you?
I think that what this does is it takes out that ridiculous element. Like if you were watching this as like a straight Arnold Schwarzenegger war film, then and then they start getting picked off one by one. And then it emerged that it was an alien. You'd go, it would probably lose about 50% of the audience. And they go, what the fuck is this? All that does is it really highlights right at the beginning.
It's science fiction.
It's science fiction. And then you forget about it. And then when it comes back later, it's kind of like, oh no, they did say, actually, we can't be angry. They were quite bold as brass right up front. They did say, come on. Kevin Peter Hall playing the Predator. Obviously, he was Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Yes. Replacing Jean-Claude Van Damme as the Predator.
And he is in the film as well, but he'll turn up later. Kevin Peter Hall plays the helicopter pilot.
He reacts to the nuclear explosion, doesn't he? Whatever it is.
Alan Silvestri, obviously the barnstorming composer of the Back to the Future movies. Here we have Jesse the Body Ventura jumping out of the helicopter first because, he was greedy like that. Bill Duke, the famous director of Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit. This guy that nobody knows, and the other guy, and there's Shane Black, who would later destroy the Predator franchise. I mean, this is great. This is probably... I think this is my favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger film, and I love Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Could talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger a lot. Probably will. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie. It's my favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger film. I would say it's in probably my top 10 science fiction films, my top 10 action films, my top 10 horror films, my top 1 Arnold Schwarzenegger films. It's just do everything about it.
It's got everything in it, isn't it?
It's a war film. It's just like, but it's great at absolutely everything that it does. It's a combination of lots of different genres, and it's great at absolutely everything. It's really brilliant. I
think most people agree with you because every time I've done top 10s or anything like that or lists my audience,
it could make a top 10 of like about 3 or 4 different genres. It's really great.
Because this was doing the sort of phase of the 80s, later part of the 80s, where it's high concept. Everything was high concept.
So this
is like you got aliens throwing in, falling into action. You've got the Terminator being extremely successful in '84, and then Commando in '85
he'd done sort of like he did Terminator, and then he did kind of like Red Heat, Raw Deal, Commando, and he was kind of like I think this
finding the right project.
This is the one that really solidified him as fucking hell, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, because he's like, even how ridiculous Arnold is really in nature, he's a straight guy with all these other ludicrous kind of characters surrounding him.
I would say that the bits of this, there's only a few bits, but the bits that don't work are the bits when they try and do the one-liners and stuff. They stand out so much because this is such a straight film, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Sure.
So this So this film basically, came about because there was a joke that was Rocky had just had defeated the Cold War.
Yes.
And they said, what's going to be next? Right, Rocky versus an alien. And so they wrote the script as a Rocky spoof for like Sylvester Stallone fighting an alien. And then it got traction and then picked up momentum, and then they made it into this Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle. And then here you go, there's Apollo Creed.
Which is there you go, a wink to throwing in someone from Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, Carl Weathers is.
And obviously the moment there was the classic scene where you see the bicep, you see how big their arms are.
Yeah.
Which was on set everyone was competing who's got the biggest arms.
Well,
Jesse Ventura was like, I've got bigger biceps or whatever than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The guy that plays Billy was like the most dangerous person on the set, and he had bodyguards to protect people from him.
Yeah.
He was crazy. He's also in.
He's in 48 Hours.
Is he in 48 Hours?
Yep.
I think he's also in Lock Up. The
Stallone one.
The Stallone
That's
movie.
from 89, I think I was, yeah. I've still not
Lock
seen that
Up's
film.
a great film.
I've not seen that. No.
I've got a couple of Stallone films that I haven't seen yet because I'm preparing myself for his. Anyway, let's not think about that. But just so that there'll be a couple more films that I can watch. Unfortunately, one of them is Escape Plan 2. But. So Carl Weathers is brilliant in this movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger, career best. Arnold Schwarzenegger was so big in this movie in terms of muscle that he couldn't run. So he kind of like waddles his way through the jungle, but his legs are so huge that he can't.
Well, it's sort of a similar issue we had with Conan, where he couldn't wield the sword because pecs were just too big.
Oh, was that?
So you had to sort of tone down.
Was that his? Yeah, it's an excuse, isn't it? Great use of music. It's obviously original song by Alan Silvestri here. It's done really great. I still love this song.
Well, they use it again, don't they, in Predators, which is a bit on the nose.
I do not understand the thing about making sequels that just basically exist purely off of nostalgia and referencing other things. Referencing the earlier movies. Like they have the MIDI gun, and they've got One Ugly Motherfucker, and all of the bits from great Shane Black there. Catching.
You were saying earlier on about the one-liners. I mean, slack-jaw faggots. I mean, that's a pretty good line.
Sure.
And he's sort of,
in historical context,
the meathead he is.
In historical context, yeah, it's a perfectly okay line. It says a lot about. One of the things I would say about this movie is that it is very economic with the time they used to set up the characters. I think you already pretty much know who the characters are.
Yeah. But what is also wonderful about this and, say, Aliens, where it gives you enough time with these characters that you actually care about them. You don't want them to be killed off,
Well, they do a lot with very little, right?
Yeah.
So they set up all the characters here, and you're right, and they're likable, and they're a great gang of guys that are going out on a mission, but you kind of get to know them with very little.
Yeah.
And when you watch stuff,
this is the moment here.
Yeah, when you look at stuff like Suicide Squad, that you go, you had a blueprint, of a Men on the Mission movie, and you had stuff like Predator, you had stuff like The Dirty Dozen, you had stuff like what's the Con Air. That's your favourite line?
It's not my favourite line, but it's a funny line.
You were saying before the commentary that it was your favourite all-time line of cinema history. See, Bill Duke's got the big razor that he's using. And it's kind of they set up these characters in moments, and then the film starts. Yeah,
that's efficient storytelling.
Yeah, and it's in a way that you go, right, well, there's something like this already exists, so how come Suicide Squad was such a massive fuck up, and that it took them 45 minutes to introduce all of the characters, and they introduced Will Smith's character 3 times. It's amazing.
It's bad directing and screenwriting. It's like they're kind of doing off the cuff, not really.
We go, this is how you do it.
Mm.
Yeah, it is a nasty habit, mate.
I love Jesse Ventura in The Running Man.
Yeah.
Which he did the year before. Well, same year, actually. I think they're both the same year, both 87. But this was a far more polished movie when you look at this compared to Running Man.
This feels like a film,
This
whereas
feels like
Running Man has an element, not necessarily of the content, but has got an element of TV movie about it.
Yeah.
It was obviously directed by Paul Michael Glaser.
Starsky and Hutch fame.
Which one was he? I think he was
Starsky. Yeah,
it was Starsky.
So this was because we're watching this now in 4K, but over the years there's been sort of wildly inconsistent kind of versions of the film put onto Blu-ray and picture. No one's ever been really happy with the look of Predator, but when they filmed it, they had a lot of inconsistent film stock, with different film stock for different cameras. Right. So you end up getting too much grain in some of the shots. So when they jump down now, there's always just a heavily, really grainy shot. But I think it's kind of a day for night shot. I think really they sort of hid it.
That's what this is now, isn't it?
I think they put a filter on. Yeah.
This looks like day for night. And then this is daytime, and they've just filled up the atmosphere with hazer.
Sure, yeah. That's okay. That's be really.
Worry. I never. It doesn't even bother me.
Mm. But it bothers the home cinema enthusiasts.
I think that's ridiculous because it would have been exactly the same in the cinema.
Yes, to a certain degree. I mean, it depends how it's been transferred and what they're fiddled with. But there was one Blu-ray which is actually part of this box set. So they've used too much noise reduction, but this is how it's supposed to look. I think it's the best it's looked so far from what I've seen over the years.
The
only thing that will sort of upsets me if they change the colour timing of the film, so it looks radically different.
Now I don't know what you're talking about. so explain a little. This shot here looks a little bit like they filmed it in a garden centre.
Little botanical gardens.
But I think what it was that the jungle was so dense that they actually had to cut back loads of it.
Yeah, and create a different jungle essentially by making it look a bit more how they would want to see it on film. Because everyone got ill as well because of the sort of the heat and the sort of food poisoning. They had Arnold rented 2 ballrooms and filled them out with gym equipment, and everyone had to exercise and run at go exercise at 3 a.m, 4 a.m.
Yeah,
Bill Duke tried it and he just quit after a week.
Yeah, I think this sounds like an absolutely miserable film to work on.
If you weren't really into kind of getting up at 4 a.m. to work out, and you've got Arnold there constantly pestering you, would you do it?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, he would have just been a very irritating man. Yeah, he hasn't made Terminator 2 or Total Recall yet, so he's just like, come on, mate. And Predator isn't out because you're making it. So it's just like, you've got one good film to your name.
He's got 2.
Hercules in New York and what? It was.
Oh, you're going to sarcastic route?
Oh, no.
You've got to think of another shit film. Raw Deal's not very good.
Raw Deal's awful.
He's totally miscast in that.
I just think it's a D picture.
Well, isn't it Dino De Laurentiis sort of still got one film out of Arnold? Basically,
so what was it? So he started off with Conan.
Oh, you mean on his contract or the films he just did generally?
Well, so what films did he do with Dino De Laurentiis?
Conan the Destroyer and Raw Deal.
Conan the Destroyer is an odd film.
It's all right. It's more like the comics. It's more like comic booky.
Right.
Than the first one.
I don't particularly enjoy any of it. My favourite.
I love Conan.
My favourite Conan film is Red Sonja, which isn't Conan, but they didn't have the rights to Conan or something.
He's called the Barbarian or the Warrior in it or something.
He's
not even referred to as Conan.
I can't remember what he's got, but it's got Sandal Bergman in it as well, so it feels like very much in the same universe. But that's what I like about Red Sonja is that you just see this fucking massive. Were we talking about this? We weren't talking about this during a commentary, were we? They've got a fucking massive skeleton in Red Sonja, and you go, fucking hell, there must be dragons in this universe. They don't show a dragon, they just show a big dragon skeleton, and you go, oh, right. Which is like world building, like in Alien, when you see the space jockey, and then you go, oh, wow, imagine that.
I do like how, with their sort of finding the destroyed helicopter, there was this kind of mystery behind it all now. They've got to try and solve the puzzle and figure out who did this. It's a great movie.
It's a mystery that unfolds. And it
takes its time.
There's real tension. You don't know as an audience member in 1987. Remember, this was 32 years ago. People were thicker back then. So you don't know as an audience member back in 1987 what's going on. It's like a mystery, and they're playing it like it's a man on a mission film. They've gone in to do a mission, and now you're watching that happen.
This is essentially it's the commando elements, but played very straight.
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, they could complete this mission without a predator turning up, and it would still be a good film. I always love this bit. He's like looking around. He thinks, "Oh, I'm a bit thirsty, and I know exactly where to get something from." There he goes. And then this is great because this is like a Spielberg moment.
This is.
But like in a way that's not as heavy-handed as what Spielberg would do. Like the bit when Laura Dern sort of like claws her sunglasses off when she sees the dinosaur in Jurassic Park. It's kind of like, it's a bit heavy-handed, Steve. Whereas that is kind of like, oh, he's thirsty, he has his drink, then he's distracted, and the drink goes all over his jersey, doesn't it? And you go, bloody hell, he wouldn't have deliberately done that. That would leave a stain or something. But
these the great traits of John McTiernan. He's a very good storyteller. He's brilliant. Puts the camera in the right place. The camera's always moving around, and it's very similar to what James Cameron's like, really, as a storyteller as well, how he directs. I
get the feeling he's less of a cunt.
What, than James?
Yeah.
James. Well,
I don't know.
James is a bit more bossy, isn't he? Really?
James hasn't gone to prison, but like,
no, yes, true. Yeah.
Well,
John McTiernan's a bit more. You say paranoid? Yeah, put it that way.
But John McTiernan, so he did Hunt for Red October, and he did one of the all-time greatest cinematic tricks of getting Sean Connery to play a Russian submarine commander. And there's a bit when they're all talking in Russian, and then halfway through the scene they seamlessly merge their Russian into speaking in English, because it's just like they go, basically, don't worry guys, we're not going to be speaking in Russian for the entire movie. So they just start
film
talking
did that. What was that I saw recently? Was it one of the Mission Impossibles did that?
Maybe. I just think it's a really good technique where like halfway through I was just like at the time like, fucking hell, I know Russian. But I mean, that's a directorial thing, I'd imagine, where you're kind of, and you go, we're not really going to seriously expect people to read subtitles for the entire film, are we? It's a Sean Connery movie. They all know it's Sean Connery. So that they did that sort of with Inglourious Basterds, didn't they? Where at the beginning he goes, well, you speak in French and I speak in German. Is there not like a common language that we could speak? And then they go, English? And I just think that's like a winking at the camera joke, where it's kind of like, there's two guys speaking in different European languages, and they go, don't worry guys, we're going to be speaking in English.
When I saw it when it was cut, the UK cut version, on tape.
I've seen,
and I think it was later on, Sky Movies had played it. My friend had taped it off Sky Movies, and it had all the extra bits in it where you see Billy basically gets his spine pulled out.
So I saw the ITV version.
So that would have been cut.
There was a TV edit which was really cut.
Yeah, I think that's probably one I saw, actually, then to the VHS tape.
So I didn't see Billy getting his spine ripped out until years later, and I was absolutely horrified.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck?
But nothing will ever beat the ITV cut of RoboCop. They showed at 8 o'clock in the evening. All the swear words redubbed over.
I mean, the swear words is absolutely...
It's glorious. It's comedy gold, and they cut all the violence out. So how Alex Murphy gets shot with one bullet and they're out of ammo, apparently.
There's the bit when Ronnie Cox is in the toilet. There he is. When Ronnie Cox is in the toilet and they're talking about what he used to call the old man.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, once I even called him Airhead. And you go, did you? I mean, they couldn't even say asshole. It was kind of...
Why play at 8 o'clock in the evening?
Now you know something's going on.
Yeah.
Because Jean-Claude Van Damme is spying on them all with his heat vision glasses, moments before he gets fired, obviously, and replaced by a taller actor.
Do you know why he got fired?
Because he thought he was going to be seen in it, did he?
No, he basically kept passing out in the suit.
Yeah, well, it was absolutely... He wasn't Jean-Claude Van Damme back then. He was this new guy who was great at kung fu and martial arts and everything. So he came over to do it. They made him wear this absolutely awful outfit.
Yeah,
like
it's terrible.
The original design is absolutely
atrocious.
And then what? So they'd already started filming, and then they hired Stan Winston. Was that
yes?
it?
Yes.
And did Arnold Schwarzenegger suggest him?
Yes, I believe so, because he worked with him on the Terminator, and James Cameron had sort of had some design input into the Predator.
Well,
The crab-like face, as it were.
Well, they did Aliens before this, didn't they? And they were on a plane together, and Stan Winston got this job.
Yeah.
And then James Cameron said, "I've always wanted to see an alien with dreadlocks."
Yeah.
And so that's what they did. I mean, the joke was basically Rocky versus an alien. And then
did Sly ever star in a sci-fi film where he fought an alien? I don't think he ever did.
No,
I think it was. He
doesn't really do. I mean, Stallone didn't really do many fun films in the 80s. I love Sylvester Stallone. I probably love Sylvester Stallone more than Schwarzenegger, but I think Schwarzenegger's films were more entertaining. I think Stallone often had a worthiness to his films, and then when he did go for fun, the films were awful.
Well, like Stop More Mum Will Shoot.
Yeah, which is a weird film because it's atrocious. It's a terrible film, but he's really good in it. Like Stallone is really good in Stop or My Mum Will Shoot in a way that he isn't good in something like Detox.
Oh God, that's bad. What about Over the Top?
I mean, Over the Top. He's terrible in Over the Top. I mean, it's not widely regarded as a good film either.
No,
but I mean,
there's a big fan base for it though.
I've seen it a few times. I like it.
See the action coming up now.
Cobra.
I mean,
he's terrible in Cobra. Whereas
Cobra,
he's great in Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. There's that stunt guy, isn't he? He's in.
I've seen him
he's
before.
in Batman Returns.
There's this whole action scene coming up here is just like
It's second unit.
It is the best of the 80s, I think. Really.
Oh yeah, but it's not. John McTiernan didn't direct this.
It's a second unit.
Second unit, and he always wanted to refilm it because he just felt like the shots weren't
too tight.
Yeah.
But I think they're incredible. I mean, that's obviously Arnold's friend there, Sven Olsen.
Which one? That
Him,
guy.
that guy there. Yeah,
because the other guy. I mean,
dead. He's popped up in Conan and The Running Man.
Yeah, he's in Running Man, isn't he? He's the security guard in Running Man,
and he's a security guy in Mallrats.
Is he? Oh, he wears the
so
boater hat,
trying to get the thing off his head. Yeah, that's right. But Bill Duke said in my documentary where Sven, well, you think Arnold's the toughest guy on set,
and then
Sven turned up and he goes, "Arnold, come here." And he lifted up Arnold. He put his elbows out and he lifted Arnold up by his elbows.
That's really cool. What was Bill Duke like?
Oh, he's super nice. He was. I mean, when people talk to him about Predator, they always want to know what's the one film they always want to talk to him about is Predator. But he talks about like he said before like the training process, which was a complete nightmare for him. Extremely hot, and also dealing with the location as well. But
that shot is wicked.
That quick quick zoom,
and then that's great. And then his acting, his reaction to that,
it's spot on.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on. No, honestly, but it's a commentary. You've got to say it when you see it. But
but he was like, he also discussed how they sort of rigged the woods when they literally blast it all. When they think, when the predators ran away, and they think, oh, that chain gun must have done all that. No, it's just like it was all rigged up. The woods explode on key, as it were.
So I really like Bill Duke did the 1-2 punch, didn't he, of Commando, and then I love Commando as well.
It's his connection with Joel Silver, and I think Lawrence Gordon also produced Commando. I think, or was this Joel Silver? Ooh. There was kind of an early sort of productions where Joel Silver was kind of going up the ranks as producer, sort of producing. He's started 48 Hours, and then he got like a Commando, Predator, Die Hard after. Die Hard. John McTiernan was just on a complete going up and up and up in quality of his movies.
What did he do before Predator?
There was that Pierce Brosnan movie he did, which didn't do very well financially, but the producers had seen this and saw his work prior to this and was like, wow, he's quite an interesting director.
Yeah.
I can't remember the bloody name of it. Is it Nomads? Something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Good old Pierce.
Didn't even know it existed. There he is. This whole sequence I think is great. I don't know if he didn't film all of it. I think that there's definitely a lot of second unit footage in here.
I think second unit is might be director Craig Baxley, who did Dolph Lundgren film Dark Angel.
Oh,
Action Jackson
with Carl.
Yeah,
Weathers.
Possibly. I think he might just be dealing with stunts, but As you were saying, it's
So this
second
guy
unit
with
guys.
this guy with the long hair, he gets his eyes scratched out by Catwoman in Batman Returns.
Oh, him! Yes. Oh, look at that!
I just really like the fact that you watch enough of these films and then you start to spot the stunt guys.
Well, it's like Al Young, from Die Hard. You see him in everything.
Action hero.
Yeah, Rapid Fire. Other ones, Double Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't like the way all this was filmed.
I think because that's probably down to the point that he wanted to use CinemaScope format, so it's not as wide as it should be.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that wouldn't go amiss from like the A-Team and stuff. These are amazing shots though, coming around a corner, a big explosion, him spitting and then shooting. And
the flames look really good in 4K.
It does feel. But then it's the only time when they're actually in battle, so I guess it's fine.
You have to see them at their best,
Yeah,
sort of
but then there's loads of slow motion in here. It feels a bit more like the way they shot Commando. But Commando is crazy, where they don't even care that you can see the dummies.
When he blows up that building,
he blows up the building, and they're just dummies that are all stuck up with brooms. And you go, "What? You're not even hiding that? That's incredible." That's what I love about Commando, though. It's just absolute
slapdash kind of like
cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because the director said, when he watched the rough cut, he said it was terrible. He said it's a career-ending movie, and then editor Mark Goldblatt comes in and saves it. Just re-edits it.
But I love Commando and Predator for different reasons.
Yeah, they're totally different in tone as well. I mean, they said to be very successful, Commando, they had to put more jokes in, make it humorous to make it work.
Yeah,
but this doesn't really have. I mean, it has jokes.
It's got these two jokes that are coming up now.
Yeah,
which I think if you pulled them out, this film is perfect.
About the big pussy.
No, it's when he kicks down the door and he says
knock,
knock,
oh,
and then he goes stick around, and you just go.
I know, I quite like stick around.
But they're absolutely fine. But they're James Bond quips in a film that doesn't need them. Like all of this is like really like. There's sort of a reading of this, which is kind of like saying that.
Cuts to a wide. Look at that.
I mean, that's a great shot.
Yeah.
But there's like a reading of this film where it's kind of like it's a deconstruction of masculinity, and they're kind of like playing on, boys' own adventure movies and Arnold Schwarzenegger tropes, and so all of this is kind of almost like a spoof. Stick around. I mean, it doesn't need it.
Even like
they do like a big close up as well.
I mean, it's 2 years after Rambo 2, which really kind of pushed the 80s kind of action star to the fullest.
But they basically,
knock,
knock. There he goes. That's his mate. It just shot him out.
Because Commando and Rambo 2 in the same year.
I just don't think it needs those two lines, right? But there's like a reading where it's kind of like they put all their stuff into that when the Predator comes along and starts destroying them. It's kind of, it's not in his character. It's not in Dutch's character to walk into a room and go, "That's Arnold Schwarzenegger."
Yeah,
and
that's
what they when did they do? Was it with The Sixth Sense or was it with Pulp Fiction? Basically, he had a list of things. No, it's 12 Monkeys. Terry Gilliam gave Bruce Willis a list of things that he wasn't allowed to do. He wasn't allowed to smirk. He wasn't allowed to smoke. He wasn't allowed to do all of these things. And so then he ended up getting a performance out of Bruce Willis that didn't rely on any of these things. This is like Arnie is great in this movie.
He's restrained a little bit in terms of he's taken it really seriously.
I know I'm really obsessed with these two lines, but I just think that they don't improve the film enough for you to go, oh I'm glad that they included them. I just think that because it's never in it again.
Well, Arnold doesn't have any more quips.
There are no more one-liners from his character.
No.
And then, Shane Black has like one more pussy joke, but like it's... Got time to duck? Got time to duck? Have you seen the DVD extra of like the making of Predator from like the 80s?
Oh yeah. They'll vintage featurette.
They're interviewing that little guy about what gun he uses, and it takes him too long to remember what the gun is, so they just cut onto the next interview, and it's like, oh my god, it's so embarrassing.
That's a grenade launcher, isn't it?
It's like, oh, you've set us up. You were telling jokes earlier. He didn't mind. He didn't mind when he was telling jokes. You know. Yeah. And also Expendables, when they do the Expendables and you go, you've already made an amazing movie about a bunch of expendable mercenaries that get sent into the jungle, and it's called Predator. So when you make the Expendables, why wouldn't you use this as a blueprint rather than what the film ended up being, which was, oh my God, you haven't done this, have you? Oh no! It was like,
it didn't live up to its idea, did it? So it's a brilliant idea on paper that wasn't
Expendables
well
is a great idea. The problem with the film Expendables was it was based entirely around everyone's shooting schedule, and so they'd have to put together the entire sequences based on the fact that, well, we've got Jet Li on Tuesday morning, so we'll film a fight with him and Dolph Lundgren. What will the fight be? Well, it'll be Jet Li going under like low hanging things, and Dolph Lundgren will just walk into them. Okay, great. All right. Right, now we got Jason Statham. He's free on Tuesday afternoon. So I'm going to go to the Bahamas and film with him on an island. And we'll just do that for a week. Right, okay. And then, so the whole film was like put together, like that. And then there was a point where he's fighting Stone Cold Steve Austin and he breaks his neck. Like in real life. Stallone broke a bone in his neck.
Oh my
and
God.
They said you can either take all these drugs
or die,
and you can either stop filming and take like however long it took to recover. And he was just, but I'll lose all the cast. They've all got jobs to go to. And you go, right, well, you can just take these drugs and you just inject yourself every day. And he just did that, and then he carried on directing and writing it. So basically, the film that's better than The Expendables is the film Inferno, The Making of Expendables, which is so good. It's like one of the best making of movies ever. And it's just got all of that, like the day after, like he broke his neck, he finished the film. The day after they finished filming, he went straight into the recording studio and he started like helping them compose the score. And it's just like, you go, fucking hell, absolute control freak. Must have been a fucking nightmare. But there was
loads of characters and actors on the 80s action movies that weren't in Expendables, and that was. But by the third film, you had people. Who are these people?
I think he got enough in the first.
What's
film.
Kelsey Grammer in this?
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer's an odd one. He's oddly he's one of the best things about the third film. The third film is the best out of the three.
It is. Yeah,
it's like the one that's got the most coherent story, got the most consistent characters. I mean, the first Expendables, don't underestimate how fucking insane it is that Dolph Lundgren dies halfway through and then he just appears at the end with the rest of the gang. And then they just have a laugh about it. It's just they hang out in Mickey Rourke's biker bar and it's called Tools. Like all of the Expendables hang out with each other in a bar called Tools, and you're thinking, fucking hell. I mean, you've got to be aware of what you're doing here. It's just incredible.
At the same time, he makes him laugh, isn't it? But this is always
he laughs too much.
He laughs just long enough so the Predator can record it.
He's fucking. It's just like, but he doesn't get it at first, does he? He has a nice little think about it.
Oh, sunk in.
The deepest voice, the deepest. I mean, he's. Yeah, he's absolutely insane. He was absolutely insane. Like a security guard to stop him from hurting everyone.
That's a really, really short temper. Especially in that heat as well. But he said, like Shane Black said,
miserable.
Shane Black said between shots, like when he was doing like a line, suddenly once they say cut, he'd just run off to go for a shit because everyone just had chronic diarrhea.
Yeah, right. Okay, that explains a lot a lot of the performances.
It was literally holding it in.
Sweating. I think all of them are great in this film in a way that it's almost a miracle because. No offense, but like, I was
always surprised. They killed off Jesse Ventura too early. I think.
Yeah,
but it had. I suppose, but it had to get rid of the muscle. I suppose the big guns quickly.
I think I just think it's perfect.
Yeah. Also, how can you? It'd be a nightmare to see in that vision. Like, where am I going? That was always a continuity thing with Predator 1 and 2. I think it is when he takes the mask off.
Yeah.
At the end, his vision's just pure red.
In
Predator 1.
Yeah.
Predator 2, I think he still sees this vision. I don't think it goes red.
Yes, sure, but you're living in a world where Predator 2 exists, aren't you? And I think there's only been one Predator movie.
So you're not a fan of Predator 2?
I just think that it's Predator 2 is. I don't know why they haven't really been able to nail. I mean, as much as you like Predator 2, as one can like Predator 2, I think there's no one in argument that it's a patch on the first one, and I don't understand why it's been so difficult to.
I think Patrick Swayze was going to be in Predator 2. He wrote about this the other day, but he got injured on Roadhouse.
Really?
Yeah. Roadhouse.
I don't know if that would have been better. I don't think Danny Glover is the problem with Predator 2.
Well, it does link it to Lethal Weapon, so it's in the same universe. And he's got the same boss in Lethal Weapon.
That's weird.
Predator 2.
And Gary Busey's in both.
Yeah.
But Gary Busey was meant to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What? No.
He was the Dutch character, and then they rewrote it to be Gary Busey.
I've read the comic, which is based on original idea for Predator 2. It's basically got Arnold's brother.
Yeah, right. I've got that. Yeah, it's got an orange cover, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's good.
This is my favourite little musical cue.
Yeah, really good
soundtrack. It's called Jungle Trek or something.
There are little clues in this movie where you can hear some of the Back to the Future score coming through.
Yeah, yeah.
He uses basically the same instruments, and this sounds a lot like.
Well, it's when the Libyans turn up.
Yeah,
you know.
But there's also like the twinkly stuff, I think, that comes in a little bit later. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
It's sort of we went diddle diddle sort of thing. I don't think that's in it.
Is it not in it?
I don't think that's in Predator, no. Because that would really just be like on the nose.
I'm sure he uses something that's not a million miles off it. You can definitely... I mean, you could...
Yeah.
This is...
It's got the nerds and the durs.
All of this stuff is Back to the Future, but it's also Predator. You don't watch this and feel like he's recycled his own work.
No. Well, that's the same thing.
He's not done a James Horner.
When you listen to Indiana Jones and Superman, and then Star Wars, they're all different themes, but there is a kind of blending of some of them.
Yeah, sure. But I would say Alan Silvestri is better. No, I wouldn't. Now, so I think there's a reading in this where these two are a gay couple.
You think?
No, I'm not even joking. I think that they love each other and they hang out with each other, and at the end, when Jesse Ventura dies, Arnold Schwarzenegger said he was a good soldier, and Bill Duke says he was my friend, and Arnold Schwarzenegger sort of like nods, like he goes, all right, and I think that's it.
Well, you can read it like that because of his emotional reaction.
He has an emotional breakdown when Jesse gets killed.
Yeah, but then you could read it into that they are just good friends, and you'd do that anyway if your friend got killed by a predator. I would not
give a shit if one of my friends died. The only thing that would make me care is if I was fucking them. Right? That's how it works. I'm a very tactile man. But I think that you can watch the whole film and then that relationship stands up. And he goes on a complete fucking meltdown after that.
He does, yeah.
And then...
Gonna have me some fun.
I mean, that's... What's this guy doing? So Joel Silver brought Shane Black on to do script doctoring while they were out there.
Which he still kind of denies in a way, Shane Black. He says he said he wasn't. I think he just threw in a few jokes.
That's why he was there.
Yeah. He was there to spice up the dialogue.
He wasn't there for muscle, was he? I mean, why? And then they said you can be in it.
But the other guy's not muscly though, is he? The guy with the grenade gun.
No, but
he's just cool.
I mean, look at that. You're showing off, mate. You don't need to tense to do that.
It's like a loaf of bread. How big it was.
Absolutely fucking ridiculous. What's this? Oh, he's touching his thing. It's Lucky's charm.
Maybe it's like his testicles in there. He's a eunuch.
That's what it is.
Yeah. One of my friends always says, when Billy goes out, he's seen something, and then Arnold follows him and goes, "What is it?" And he thinks he sees something, but he says, "Oh, you can see the predator in the long shot." It's not there at all. I don't think at all. I think it's like rubbish. But it's. I think he's just seeing things. But
Your friend is.
yeah, it's just the optical effect. You would see that slight shimmering.
Did he only watch it once then and never go back to
Oh, it's one of his favourite films. So maybe
he's convinced himself that you can see it in general.
It's the Nelson Mandela effect, isn't it?
Are there on yes, where everyone is convinced that Nelson Mandela made the movie Shazam in the 90s. This bit he thinks that you can see.
Yeah, he thinks you can kind of see him. Yeah, but
it's so good.
Or maybe
this film is great. It's so good.
Or maybe it's when they encounter the helicopter, but you can never see it. It's only when later on you see the optical shimmering, which is I'm still baffled how they did the effects. It's so good for the time when you're using analog chemical effects and opticals to achieve this kind of transparency.
Yeah, it's really good, and also
mirrored effect.
And also, because it's based on an alien technology, it's meant to be an alien technology. The effects haven't. It's not like they've aged badly. It's kind of like no. It's kind of like he's reflecting light, and he's kind of like. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like so the way it appears on film is the way it's meant to look. Yeah, it's not like this is a shit special effect or shit green screen or something. Is there
Predator 2? They really nailed it when he walks across the water.
I don't give a shit about that film. Honestly, I think I've seen that film 1.5 times, and I've tried to watch it at least 10 times in my life, and I just can't. I just don't care. I think it being set in 1997 is kind of like a bit
in the future.
Set in the future of 1997. What, the same year as Escape from New York?
Well, yeah, it's true. LA, whatever. No, New York was set in 1997. Yeah, you're right.
Was New York, and then LA was made in 95 or 96. I mean, the special effects in Escape from LA, when they show the earthquake at the beginning, you go, don't bother. Just don't bother.
It's the boat thing he uses. That's the where the effects get a bit.
It looks like
a PlayStation cutscene, doesn't it? Really?
If that. I mean, it's just terrible. Anyway, back to this film. Are there any shots of Jean-Claude Van Damme still in the movie? There's sort of like
I think there's two. But no, when Arnold's the stuntman for Arnold, when he gets hit later on, we see he's crawling away from the Predator.
Right.
It does look a bit like Van Damme because of the guy's physique.
Yeah, and he's got that lump on his head. See, that's good.
That's a great edit because he just gets pulled off quickly.
And this shot of him grabbing the foot and
that's amazing. It's kind of like the opticals added over like an invisible hand. It's kind of.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how they did it.
I think I had discussed it when I reviewed it. I can't remember now, but they're handled by Richard Greenberg. The effects are who did a lot of titles for movies. He did Alien. He designed the Alien title. He did the Superman titles.
If it's a crossover on that, I interviewed a guy called Van Ling, and he directed the thing. He did loads of special effects on The Abyss, but he also does like all the graphics for stuff.
Is that online? That interview?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
That was good. It was a good interview. It was really interesting. We only had him for half an hour, but he was really interesting. So obviously when the Predator is kind of invisible, he's got his invisible look, he doesn't have any dreadlocks.
No. And it's like a red suit, isn't it?
So I don't know.
They put on.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was kind of like based
you're dealing with a green
I
background.
don't know whether it was because it was based on the old design and they hadn't quite come up with the new design yet, or...
No, there is the weird... If you look at the early production shots, there's a red suit with the old...
That looks like a turtle. He looks like he's got like weird. A long neck. And
that's the Van Damme kind of suit, right? And that's where Van Damme's in it. He's running around because he's quite short, Van Damme, in comparison to Kevin Peter Hall, who's like a giant. Yeah. And then there is... Because there's a shot when Carl Weathers has his arm blown off. Yeah. And he's approached by the Predator, which is... They reshot with Kevin Peter Hall as well. Right. So there's two photographs with Van Damme and Kevin Peter Hall in that same sequence. But more and more photos keep coming out over the last couple of years of more of the Van Damme stuff behind the scenes, where people have literally had them in their drawers and just taken them out and scanned them and put them online. Right. But Bill Duke said he was there when Van Damme got fired.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassing story.
Well, he just said, I said earlier, where he's, it was just too hot. Van Damme, he said to Van Damme, if you pass out again, I'll fire you. The producer said.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because it's not my fault. It's so hot. I'm sweating.
Do I have?
I'm
dehydrated. Imagine if he was saying, "Do I have to wear the suit?" Can I? And then that would have been translated over the years to, he wanted to be in the film. You know what I mean? It's kind of. I feel kind of bad.
And then he
for
said
him.
2 weeks went by where Van Damme didn't pass out, and then he passed out, and then he was fine.
Deliberately passing out.
No.
But then the same thing happened with Eric Stoltz, didn't it, in Back to the Future? So it's the curse of Alan Silvestri. Find out who's doing the score if you're ever making a movie, because if it's Alan Silvestri and you've got the lead, then you're probably likely to film 90% of it and then get asked to leave.
Let's find out who was originally cast in Roger Rabbit instead of Bob Hoskins.
I mean,
it's John Candy. Oh my God.
I mean, why was it Bob Hoskins? They filmed it in England, didn't they? But
Elstree.
Did they cast Bob Hoskins because they didn't want to fly an American over?
I don't know.
I think Bob Hoskins is great in it. Obviously,
yeah.
career defining.
He had skills in mime, didn't he, as well? So he knew how to interact with something that's not there.
I think his daughter had an imaginary friend, and he used to sort of play around with that. And then he took that onto the film with him. But it is weird though to hire like such a British actor. I mean, you can tell he's doing an American accent in places. Odd. So did Alan Silvestri do Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh yeah, that's a wonderful sort of jazzy score.
That's really good.
I mean, he's Flight of the Navigator. That's completely different electronic score.
You're naming all the classics now. Flight of the Navigator.
What a fantastic score.
I don't remember the score for that.
Oh, it's wonderful, Nick. I'll send it to you. Got some CGI in that as well.
Yes, some of the earliest CGI.
That's right.
Great shot. And they haven't seen this either. And now, who is that meant to be? That's
supposed to be Shane Black, isn't it?
That's Shane Black.
Doesn't look like him at all.
But I mean, it's just really creepy, isn't it? It's a classic Agatha Christie plot thrown into. It's Agatha Christie with steroids. One by one, they're getting picked off. I mean, it's a horror movie
trope. It's
plot.
It's those tried and tested techniques in horror that has been wonderfully mixed with action.
This is
and
great
science
shot.
fiction.
This right here.
Because it's like it's.
And then he starts pissing blood straight out.
Because he got shot there. Was that because the Predator shot the skunk, whatever it was?
Is that what happened?
That's what I always thought. But it's kind of it was really low down. The animal was. It wasn't right next to him.
And he's just like, no.
Predator spat on him or something.
And now he goes like, "You've killed my boyfriend." No, he's fucking. I think that absolutely. That is how that's how I've interpreted it. If he bleeds, we can kill it.
This is like one of the most epic sequences, though, isn't it? Just, God.
Well, they just shot for hours. Did they really?
They rigged it all. They rigged it all.
So they couldn't really.
Yeah. These are all blanks, so
Yeah, but it's convincing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course.
It must have been really fun to film.
Oh man, it's literally boys with toys again. It's like playing army as a kid. But you got to be the best at it. You got to fire those blanks without blinking. If you can't do the Roger Moore blink.
That was a visual thing. I just blinked while pretending to fire.
Robert Patrick's pretty good, but he does blink a few times in T2 and he's firing off those pistols.
I like it when he doesn't let go of the trigger. He's still going, and you hear it for ages. It sounds like the washing machine coming to the end of its cycle.
Ding, done.
Just.
And there's just complete silence.
Absolute nothing. They haven't, not even a dent. They are all feeling rather foolish right now.
They often do those things in films where if they bombard you with loads of sound, really loud sound, one scene will just go dead silence because they've got to give your ears a rest.
Oh, do they do that deliberately?
Yeah. It damages your ears. When I spoke to composer Brad Fidel, he said nowadays there's rules back then, even when he was in the 90s, certain decibels you mustn't cross over. Now they've gone over that completely. Because I watched like First Man, and their decibels in there are so loud, it's literally damaging everyone's hearing. Most films now, they'll go beyond that. So it's like going to a gig, and you come out and your ears are like, boop.
Oh, really?
So films were supposed to follow a set rules of decibels so you can go over. Now they've abused them a lot.
I always find films quite quiet these days, but maybe that's just because my hearing is going. It's so sweaty. Look how sweaty he is.
Mate, he's holding in literally his lunch. It's about to fall out his arse.
They're all so... Look at them. They're all so sweaty and ill.
I suppose a good way to lose weight, though, isn't it? In a horrible way, but yes, sort of... A lot of it just comes out your arse, but yeah.
And this commentary's taken a turn that... Like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. No, but that's when they were filming that, everyone got ill.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. 'Cause it wasn't Raiders. Everyone got ill.
Everyone got ill.
Spielberg just ate out of cans.
Well, Spielberg learnt from Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Right,
he said, I'm not going through that again. So he just had everything shipped over.
And then Harrison Ford spends the rest of Raiders just sweating all the time. That's stuff like glow sticks, isn't it? Basically, it must be.
I think that's a digital effect. You can see the way it's shimmering. I think that they've painted that on afterwards rather than the glow stick. I always thought, do you know what? It's the 4K. I've never noticed. I've always thought.
I think Predator 2 has the glow stick glue. I think they've learnt by that point when he creates that stuff to put on him to repair himself. The Predator does.
Right.
I think you're right. That's an optical effect.
I always assumed that was in camera, but it really pops in the 4K. If you're not watching it in 4K,
you haven't lived.
I don't think you have. Oh, bloody hell. Don't look. Oh, come on, mate.
Just give it a wig. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they've got really good eyesight, they can step over it.
Oh. That's
Arnold's just computed that.
Right. Oh. No, that makes sense. That's why you kept going off to get right. This film's got everything. It's got, complex emotions, mature relationships. It's got action.
It's breaking down boundaries, mate.
It is, though. I think that it's progressive. Although I would probably think that they would deny it at the time. I think that.
I think even if I thought of that kind of theory beforehand and we quiz Bill Duke, you'd be like, no.
Oh, absolutely. But I think
so. Don't say that to Jesse. He'd probably kill you.
I think it is definitely there.
Well, Jesse Ventura is kind of a bit of a conspiracy.
Jesse
theorist,
Ventura is fucking ridiculous. I mean, that fucking show that he makes with June Sarpong.
No, I've not seen that. No, I've only seen like highlights of him talking about 9/11 and things like that.
Oh yeah, so see, that's the colour of it, really. You see? I've never noticed that before. It's the 4K. That's all painted on, mate.
I love how the design of the aliens, the Predators, kind of surgical equipment, where it's completely different to what you've seen before. That's what kind of makes it kind of production design actually quite unique.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I do think that there's something with the gloves where the fingers are a little bit longer.
Yeah,
and the fingers.
It looks very rubbery. His leg does. Like he's squishing it down.
The fingers end. The human fingers end just before the fingers in the gloves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so he's not like the fingertip is like a little way below. I've always thought that the gloves are a little bit unconvincing. That's your first look at the Predator, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's showing him that he has he can be hurt just like everyone else. He's like, fuck! It just clipped himself.
Sophisticated.
Ordering an Uber.
Get me. I'm Carl Weathers. Get me out of here. Expendable assets. That's them. You know, they're the Expendables. This is what the fucking Expendables movie should have been, except for, you know, without the alien, something else. You know, there was a good film. I think what it was he worked backwards from the concept, and then he was just like, "Hey guys, who's free? Is anyone free in March?" And then they've all gone like, "Yeah, I probably got like a couple of days." And then he would have like written the script around it.
Their availability.
He hasn't. They haven't started with a script. Do you know what I mean? They haven't gone, "This is a good story." They've gone, "Oh God, right? How do I fit
these many actors?" It's a film that should have been made in the 90s by like Carol Co. or whatever, by Mario Kazar.
I think,
and that should have been like the big Arnold and Sly action movie.
Maybe, but I don't.
It would have cost a fortune because they were asking for 20 million a movie.
I mean, I don't think that the fact it was made in 2010 was the problem. I think the fact is that
also as well because
none of them were free on the same day. I think that's the problem.
They were playing to the market, which was 15 or 12A rated action movie. It wasn't 18. Balls to the walls.
It wasn't 18.
No, it wasn't.
Expendables was.
It was a 15 in the UK, but it was a tame 15.
Oh God, the CGI blood was rubbish.
Yeah, you want proper Paul Verhoeven style squibs like in Total Recall, Robocop. People's getting blown to bits in a very. It goes so far it becomes comical, which is what I like about that style.
Stallone made it happen, but then also I think he's the thing where it's kind of like it's difficult. It was difficult balancing that many things, you know, writing, producing, directing, starring in. You know,
do you think with how the series is going now? Because I quite like Predators, despite it being essentially a carbon copy of the first one and
Predators. There's a Predator 3.
Yeah, Predator 3. Yeah.
No,
didn't like it.
I think the idea of there being like a serial killer amongst some of Britain's like best killers. You know, it's kind of like you've got all the best hunters, and one of them is like a serial killer. I think that's interesting, but the film is shit. the different races of predator look rubbish. The predator dogs look rubbish. The predator planet is kind of like, what's the fucking point in this?
Because they only add one thing, don't they, to make it like it's a predator planet, which was having this weird kind of statue or like a religious kind of.
Oh, I don't remember it.
That was it.
I've blocked so much of it out. Nimrod.
What about
Nimrod Amtel was the guy that directed it, wasn't it? And then
yes,
then you wait all the way through, and then Lawrence Fishburne turns up, and you go, mate, how have you survived this long? and Lawrence, you know, I mean, we can all, but he's huge in it, and you just think you've not been wasting away. I mean, fucking what are you living off out here? You've been here for fucking 20 years. And also it's meant to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. So you go, well, it should have been Dutch. You know, you had the opportunity to bring Dutch back in the second one. I'm just glad that he didn't. I just think there's one Predator movie and it's really good. And I don't hate any. Well, I did absolutely despise the Predator.
That was just riddled with production problems.
I just can't understand how the guy that was in Predator made it. Like he's never seen Predator. You were in it.
Wouldn't you say there's sort of studio interference with that?
Yeah, sure, but that's only because he was delivering a film that was so woeful that they said, you've got to reshoot this, mate.
But he's also directed one of my favourite films, The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys is great.
Yeah.
And Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is great.
It's a wonderful film. Yeah. And he wrote Long Kiss Goodnight, which is a really good action film.
Yeah, I love Long Kiss Goodnight, and I love
Last
Weapon,
Last Boy Scout.
I mean, I think that's what makes his involvement with the Predator just even more baffling. And you go, it's not just he was good in the 80s. He has been consistently good for his entire career, and then he made this film, and you go, oh, he's coming back. When I heard that there were problems with Predator, you go, well, I can't understand what that could be. And then it's such a bad film. What I like about that bit when he kills the pig is they make a joke, and they all sort of like laugh about it.
Yeah.
And it feels very natural.
It's not like throw a bit of something terrifying, then you play it out with some comedy.
Yeah, and it's not like a movie joke like his one-liners earlier, where they're only for the audience's benefit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an in-world joke where they've said something and they've reacted to it naturally.
Bill Duke's reactions is very realistic. We're just like, fuck you.
Yeah,
you know,
and then it goes straight into the next moment, and then it's kind of like... So that's what I think is great about this. It's quite a realistic... Do you know what I mean? They're dealing with something that's extraterrestrial and all of this, but the way they've handled the movie is in quite a realistic manner.
All I've seen them do is drink some alcohol out, swing out that sort of hip glass thing. You know, it's like you'd think they just shoot one shot, just have them sort of just eating something, or you just be like, oh, having a drink of water. But they're just nope. These guys are just full on machines. They don't need food.
It's honestly never occurred to me that they haven't sat down and had a lunch break. I guess we've got different priorities. Are you hungry?
It's 11,
you need to eat.
It's 11 C's, whatever. You know. This is also really one little frustrating thing with all films when someone's seen something and they have to explain to someone else what they saw, and they give them the most weak and feeble explanation of what they saw. They have got to spend the rest of the time guessing. He goes, oh, what Bill Duke was like, oh, his eyes. That came out of me. It's done to sort of scare, the other people in the team. But you just think, well, no, it was a thing, glowing eyes, a weird force field thing.
Yeah, be specific, right, and be as helpful as possible. Right, give them too much information. If you think you're oversharing, you're probably not, right? So just go for it. I think you're absolutely right. It's like normally when there's a misunderstanding in a film, and you go, just explain to them what the misunderstanding was. This film is over, guys. You're dragging it out. It's over, right? But it's really frustrating when they. That's a weird shot.
Yeah, it's got the Morticia eyes going on.
Well, yeah,
with weird just highlight on his eyes.
This as well is brilliant. This movie, because it has the credits at the end, the LOLO credits. When
Carl Weathers is the best one though. When he grabs the gun
and then he laughs.
He's like,
he's fucking.
You see something to give someone a thumbs up or something, that would just be to the next level. But that's what, like Predator 2, Predators, and The Predator don't have that at all. Come on, if you want to keep continuity, have that as well.
I just honestly don't know how they've managed to fuck up every single. It's about it's about a hunter comes to Earth. In Batman versus Predator. When the Predator...
I love that comic book.
It's a great comic book. And when Batman comes down, the guy that the Predator's hunting is a prize-fighting boxer.
Yeah.
And he's doing it in the city. And you go, yeah, that makes sense, because that would be a trophy, know.
And he can do his other trophies as well.
The sequels do not... What they are doing is they're trying to, I guess in the original Predator 2, they're subverting your expectations. It starts off with the jungle shot, doesn't it?
It's very clever.
And then it goes off into Los Angeles. You go, we're not in the jungle this time, we're in the city, we're in the urban jungle. It's sort of a jungle, but it's not, it's an urban jungle. So we've twisted it now, right? We had you going. There's only 6 people in the first one. Now we're in a city and it's populated densely. Arnie wasn't available, but we got Gary Busey. Stuff like, So that's what they do with... And then in the third one, they go, oh, we're back in the jungle. You weren't expecting that, were you? And you go, what you're doing is you're making a sequel to the movie Predator. But what you should be doing is taking the concept of what is a predator, what is the concept of this. And he's hunting, like... the biggest guys out there, and he's absolutely destroying them. And that's part of the. There's a dark comic reading of this, which is he's taken like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's taken the Terminator and Apollo Creed, and all of these guys that are obviously Bill Duke's from Joel Silver movies, and The Jesse the Body Ventura was a wrestler, and he's taken all these manly men out into even someone like Shane Black writes really hard-boiled masculine dialogue and action movies. He's taken all these manly men, put them in the forest, the jungle, and then just destroyed them like really easily.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like it's a satire on masculinity, but you can take that concept and you can put it into you can tell other stories with it.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand how they've managed to fuck it up as badly as they have.
Would you say it's a problem with this film was essentially capturing lightning in a bottle, and it's very difficult to repeat? It's like Ghostbusters. It's difficult to repeat the quality of that movie.
Yeah, maybe that's true. I would say there's something interesting.
And it's like Gremlins, where Joe Dante's like, well, we can't repeat this. We got to do something completely different.
Well, that's the classic thing of a sequel, and I guess that's what Shane Black did with the fourth one, which was we'll make a comedy. Like, we were
because he's well versed in that. He can write really funny dialogue.
Oh yeah, really funny dialogue. But like, you would think that he would have some inkling. You'd think that he'd be able to put his ego aside and use it within the context of how it's needed. Like Last Boy Scout is basically wall-to-wall one-liners, and it's just joke. Whereas this, he was in this film, and he knows that there was tension, and it worked. Like we said at the beginning, it works as a science fiction film, works as an action film, works as a suspense film, a thriller, a horror film, works as all of these things, and you go into it wanting any of those things, and it absolutely satisfies you. Plus, there are like moments of levity where where it lets you off the hook here and there. Shane Black was in this film. He knows how this film works and how it was constructed. Why would he make the film that he made? It's just impossible to kind of work that out. But we were talking about, in our last commentary a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Evil Dead, and then when they did Evil Dead 2, they made that a comedy with Gremlins. The first one is more or less a straight horror,
And number two,
with
the
humour.
Looney Tunes cartoon.
And the second one is kind of like, we won't repeat it. We'll just do balls to the wall, comedy. That's what
I think they should do with sequels instead of repeating oneself. And there was always a diminishing returns attitude. Was like they end up, they just recycle the same thing, and it's had the characters doing the same thing again. I
just think that when you look at something like Terminator, Terminator is like a techno, what is it? Tech noir.
Yeah.
It's a cyberpunk thriller, and it's basically it's a horror movie.
Also, coming up in a minute, there's one little theory people have been saying. What they say, the predator gets caught here, and makes all those kind of weird screaming noises. But I always thought they captured a like a chimpanzee or something.
It makes a chimpanzee noise, yeah. But that is the predator.
Yeah. Because that always, I was like,
whoa, watch it! Oh, I got you.
I love how the predator just kind of like he looks around and goes, hello, and just disappears again because he's like, you can have a look at me if you want.
Guys.
Bleh. Disappears.
And then he sees it. It's great. Oh, this is it. Come on. Gonna have some fun.
It's weird. Yeah, you're right as well.
So what James Cameron would do, he's done it twice, was he takes Alien,
concept of,
and then he goes, right, we'll do the same but different. And then, so he we'll make Alien a war film. It was a horror film. Make it a war film. We'll basically make it Vietnam. And we'll add loads of aliens to it. And with Terminator 2, he did a sequel to his own film, and he made this tiny little low-budget, science fiction thriller, which is basically a horror film, a chase film. And we'll it's still a chase film, but it's the biggest budget
action movie
you'll ever see with advancements in the Terminator technology, and we'll add to it. When they made Terminator 3. Obviously James Cameron's not involved. And they've gone, it's a remake of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
But then they've also gone, I remember reading the video box. I saw it at the cinema. I hated it. And I remember
gutted.
Just on the video box, it said, featuring the same action and humour you've come to expect from the Terminator franchise. And so I think that there were moments of levity in the Terminator movies which did sort of alleviate the tension and stuff. And there was in-world jokes, but when he puts on the Elton John sunglasses and looks directly at the camera and then shakes his head and then you go, That is absolutely insane that you put that in. That's like a loaded weapon joke, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's only for the audience's benefit.
Yeah.
It's absolutely... I think that film is crazy. It's annoying as well. It's like she's made of liquid metal. There's blood on the floor. So she sticks her finger in the blood and then licks it. And you go, your whole body is liquid metal. Right? Your finger is the same as your tongue, right? It's just like you can do a reading of just sticking your foot in the blood, surely. It's just like you're only doing it to have like that yuck factor where we're going to go,
Well, she kind of orgasms.
she's not going to lick the blood, is she? You know, it's just like, grow up, you fucking idiots. Fucking hate Terminator 3. Good ending, though. Good ending.
There was a good ending, actually.
Yeah. That's the only thing that anyone can defend it with. Yeah, it's got a good ending. Yeah,
it was
fine.
all inevitable, you know. I love how...
My favourite bit was when it ended, too.
And Carl Weathers has got that sort of six-pack gut. You see,
yeah.
It's good, whoa, massive, but it's all like six-pack.
It's like...
it's crazy.
It's like Stallone in Rocky Balboa when he has the fight at the end. He doesn't take his top off for the entire movie, and then he takes the top off at the end, and he looks like a barrel that's had bacon stapled to it. It's just... It's like... I mean, he's huge in that film, but like...
It's too veiny.
There becomes a point when you're just adding muscle onto mass. Like, he looks like a skinned rabbit in Rocky 4. And in Rocky Balboa, he's just fucking huge. This bit's great. I mean, the whole film is great. They were watching this bit. This bit is the two guys that's in the woods, and they're looking at there's the predators on the shelf, on there. You know.
There's a bit, if you watch some, like, I think it was TV, like a pan and scan version, because this is matted for widescreen, right? So you would have had more picture on the top and the bottom, but they mat it on the aperture plate in the cinema, so it looks artistically interesting. Back to the Future is the same. It's matted.
So hang on, they filmed it.
It's like a square.
Right.
And then you've got the widescreen border, right? The black bars top and bottom, essentially. They're cropped off by the aperture plate. So if you see a pan and scan version of this, which won't have the mat, it would
so
have...
it's got the top and the bottom of this image.
Yeah, but it's kind of you lose the left and right a little bit. When Carl Weathers gets his arm blown off, you can see...
Yeah, you can see it anyway.
You can't sit in a widescreen one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you can see it on the pan and scan.
I reckon you can see it.
Okay, let's have a
observe
in the moment and...
brilliant.
This is a bit weird. He blows his head off, right?
Yeah.
And then Carl Weathers sees him and his head's fine. But he's just like dead. I thought he blew his head off.
Well, he shoots a big hole in his head.
Dead.
But he shoots a hole in the front of his head and then the back of his head explodes out.
That was a big plasma blast.
Sure, okay. Let's not undo our favourite film here.
No, it's true. I'm nitpicking.
What was that was crawling over it when the leaves fell just then?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it might have been another woodland animal. Yeah, I mean, he's so right.
Just drop all your guns then. He can't get you. He'll get low points, I suppose. He won't kill because he get low points. Is it all being recorded?
I think that
everything.
I think that it would be foolish to completely go unarmed. I mean, it would be terrible to survive all this and then get attacked by a bear or something.
That's true, yeah.
I don't think they have bears in the jungle.
Yeah.
Oh, Jungle Book.
You have to use your belt or your shoe or something to defend people off or something.
I mean, this, yeah. He uses some really interesting shots here where it's kind of like...
Turn around. I love how it pans along and you'll see the kind of like shimmering optical effect, and it's like, oh, there it is.
And that's Van Damme.
No, it's not Van Damme. No, but this was saying earlier. There was two. They had to reshoot it.
Right.
To fit. Oh, there you go, spread out.
Can you see him?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, but the previous shot you could see it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there he is. Oh, I see him now.
It's like a magic eye test, isn't it? It's a schooner.
I mean, this film is great. This
See, blows it off, and then when he goes to get the
to
other...
be fair, he didn't let go.
True.
He kept his finger down.
See, you'll go to get the other gun.
Yeah. And then you can see his arm. Oh, you can't. You can't see his arm.
See, it's the Mac.
God.
So you see it on TV.
Everyone, yeah, God, that's like one of the things people always go, oh, you can see it. You can see his arm.
Look at that matte painting on the left.
That is gorgeous. Oh, it looks like, no, it's gone.
It's like Mos Eisley Spaceport. No,
no,
other good mats. Willow. Here you go. Willow's loaded with mats.
No. Ow, that would hurt. He's a pretty tough guy. But I still think
he's gonna fucking cut himself up.
I think that would. I was doing my head in. Where's the place that you go in the woodland with a plastic dome over it?
Oh, what? Logan's Run?
No, in England, in the real world.
Oh, sorry. What, down in Cornwall? Oh, God.
No, not that place. Not the Eden Project.
Oh, buddy. Oh, fuck.
We're going to spend the rest of the film trying to remember the name of... There's
something Gardens, isn't it?
No, there's the dome in the middle of nowhere. And you can feed deer in the swimming pool. People go on family holidays.
Oh, no.
They don't allow stag do or hen do's.
Oh, God, it'll come to us.
I keep wanting to say Alton Towers, but it's not Alton Towers. I've been to Alton Towers. Fucking hell. There he is. That's Billy getting it.
Predator gets there really quickly.
Yeah, because he's the fucking Predator. Look at him shaking. I've never seen that before. That's Arnie, right? Shaking. No, that's him. That's him shaking.
Yeah,
Arnie
Arnie
wouldn't be shaking. I thought that... No! Kick it. Get Here he is. Get to the helicopter. That's the famous line. I don't know. I don't need there to be like a sequel to Predator that references get to the helicopter, get to the chopper, right? and there's the Shane Black in the new one, the Predator.
I think they use that line.
Get to the choppers because there's a load of motorbikes. You go, yeah, ha 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 ha. I hate you. I hate this.
Maybe it was all Fred Decker's fault. The ride of Robocop 3.
I mean, fucking hell, them two.
Well, they could mates though. That's why they.
Yeah, because they're called Black and Decker. That's literally the only reason why they've been hanging out this amount of time. It's not because they've created great movies. Fucking hell, fucking infuriates me. This bit is like a cut. I mean, who doesn't want to go on this water slide? It'd be amazing. Look how beautiful the water is that he's going into. That's sort of like a different day, a bit overcast. But then when he lands, it's just like it's
clear blue, isn't it? It's lovely.
It's just that's a different lake. But I love that shot. That's a real stuntman that was doing it. You know that. You know somebody earned their money that day, and now he's here going down the log flume. Fucking absolutely incredible. Look at that. Oh, I would love to find out where they filmed this and go on holiday there. Probably absolutely ruined by, rubbish. Like Coke cans and crisp wrappers now. Tesco bags. But, imagine back in the day it was gorgeous. What is the name of that fucking place with the plastic domes?
Centre Parks. This
looks like the best Centre Park. I mean, do it like... Okay, so Predator 2. There's a prize fighting athlete, right, who takes his family to Centre Parks, right? The Predator knows where he's gone. They come down and he spends the whole weekend at Centre Parks having an absolute nightmare. Just like going, fucking hell, I came here to relax with my wife and my kids, and now you're kind of like... I love all of that. And now basically the rest of the film
is here.
Takes place around this location.
Yeah.
I always think that...
I always forget about that shot earlier because you see you see the camera pans up and you see the tree
Yeah.
and the thing where he's going to set up the trap and stuff. I thought, oh my God, I'd actually... Every time I watch this, I find one little bit extra I've missed before.
Yeah. I'm pretty observant, so I got it all in my first viewing.
Well done. Well done, Nick.
But that's what I enjoy about rewatching it. It's proving myself right. What I think this is a metaphor for is that sometimes under preparation can achieve great results. So here he is. He's got mud on him by just like crawling out of the water, and he ends up with mud all over him, right?
Yeah.
And then because of that, the predator doesn't see him.
Right.
Now later on, he meticulously puts the mud on in a sort of ritualistic manner, right?
Yeah.
And he must miss a bit because the predator sees him later.
He sees movement.
Yeah.
That's it. But he doesn't see the heat, though, still.
And I think that this can be like a metaphor for life, which is sometimes, a mistake is better than something that was planned. Well, that's how I get through my daily life anyway.
Spontaneous. I love how the Predator, Kevin Peter Hall's kind of added a little bit of mannerisms to the Predator. With his movement, where he turns off his little thing. It's very kind of little... It's quite delicate with his equipment.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to like mash it all up, does he?
And I think the FX guys say like, oh, the gun in the first one looked like a bit like a hairdryer. So I think they changed it for the sequel, didn't they?
I don't know. I mean, you keep talking about films that I've got no knowledge of.
You tried to get through, didn't you?
I must check this out, this movie. I mean, I don't have a problem with them making sequels to this. I just have a problem with them making such like... And also, I think Predator 2 isn't as bad as people say, but it's just so far removed from this film in terms of quality. It's boring.
Well,
and it's stupid.
Director Stephen Hopkins said he'd... Looking at it now, he would have shot it completely different. He was just like very young, and came off Nightmare on Elm Street 5,
right?
And this sort of like people saw Elm Street 5, thought, wow, this guy's a great visualist. Let's just get him to do Predator 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's the I think it's the script.
The script, yeah.
I think that I just don't think it was the right story. Don't think it's an interesting story. Although, of course, Bill Paxton appears in Predator 2, and he is the only actor to ever be killed by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator.
Yes. And nearly a tornado. Oh well.
He managed to fight a tornado. All this music stuff is great.
Because there's no more dialogue for a while now. I think there's only little bits of dialogue. So in the script, it'll just be like an action sequence. That'll be it.
Yeah.
End.
I mean, how would the script have run? This has been on now for an hour and 22 minutes. So you've got like basically an 80-page script, and then you just race through the last.
But you just like skip and go, oh, okay, well, I know where we are.
And are we saying that the Predator only comes out at night? Are we?
No,
because he's
We only wouldn't in theory like the Predator to still be wandering around trying to find him. He may have wandered off for miles and not realised Arnold was way back there. And then he screams out, doesn't he? And does his war cry to get the Predator's attention.
I think the Predator would have hung about, and he would have like laid a trap,
sniffed him out.
Yeah, I think that he would have waited around to the last place he saw him and sort of hang around the area.
Kind of like going when you lost your keys and you keep going back to the same place where you knew.
This is the stuff that.
This is the bit,
that shot of him coming down and.
This I saw some when I was 12 on my mate's tape. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, the spine actually isn't the worst bit. It's Billy coming face down.
Yeah. I always thought, what happened to him? You don't see his death.
But I think that you do sort of see the skulls. I think they showed you him cleaning the skulls.
Yes.
And then obviously you have the skull with the hole in the head, and that's obviously Bill Duke.
Yeah. But
again, with Predator 2, when they show the alien skull, and you think that's just a nice little Easter egg. I don't need to see an Alien versus Predator movie, and then people go, "No, we want to see it." I want to see Anakin Skywalker's little boy. I want to see the alien in the Predator fight. What else do they do it in? I mean, it's just like I want to know where
How Joker became the Joker.
How Joker became the Joker. I want to know why is he called Han Solo? He goes, oh my God, please don't do that. Please don't do that. No, they don't. Oh, a random card gave him the name. Oh. I always think that it looks like he's opening little cans of Lynx.
Yeah.
Like he's getting
bit of Africa.
Getting his deodorant out. I mean, basically, the last third of this turns into Home Alone.
It does.
In Stranger Things, there's a bit when they set loads of booby traps, and I was thinking, everyone was always on about like Stranger Things. It's so clever. It's so clever. I mean, it takes all of these films from the 80s, like the Goonies. It takes all these films from the 80s, and it makes something new out of it. It's so clever. And then you watch it and you go, oh yeah, it's a greatest hits, right? It's a tribute. It's a Steven Spielberg tribute act.
They went a bit season 2. There was the first few episodes were a bit on the nose, where they're kind of like just referencing everything. Ghostbusters,
just wearing Ghostbusters outfits, are they? That's weird.
Yeah. And also, I've discussed this before on the channel, but I'll mention it to you. The kid in his bedroom has a poster for Evil Dead and The Thing. A kid.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that.
No, and they do the same thing with It as well, where they take the kids, one of the kids out of Stranger Things is in it. And the same thing, they open with, he's got a Beetlejuice and a Gremlins poster on the wall, and you go, and then in the hallway.
Stranger Things, if it was 83, whatever, he would have had Return of the Jedi poster.
Well,
maybe Superman 3.
But then that all links back to like Poltergeist and stuff like that, where basically Steven Spielberg used to put all George Lucas merchandise in all his films because he'd get it for free, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
But then it's quite an accurate kind of. Like,
but that was a good thing about it. It
actually
was quite clever. It had Batman playing at the cinema, and
yeah,
and Elm Street 5 was coming soon.
Elm Street 5, that was
that was that was subtle things, and the kid liked New Kids on the Block.
I think Terminator is at the cinema in Stranger Things. But
is it? Well,
there's a bit in Stranger Things when they set a booby trap and you go, well, what film is this? And then you go, well, it's Nightmare on Elm Street or it's Predator. And then you go, it's probably both. And obviously later on, Home Alone. I mean, is this a set or would it have been location?
This would have been. Oh, that's a good question. I think it would have been location, actually.
Well, they're lucky with this fucking location. It's incredible. Yeah. But it also does look a little bit like a set. I mean, they filled it with haze and fog and stuff. And
I really don't know, actually. I mean, I think because of how everything's lit from behind, it seems too large to be a set, and it seems like it's actual natural light.
Sure.
But I think they've probably... That tree's not real. They're pretty...
Yeah, right. Because
they have to, as you were saying, when they were cutting down lots of the forest to create something that was kind of more interesting to look at, so just being completely dense, we can't get through it.
Aside from a couple of
day for night shots, it's weird, isn't it?
Aside from a couple of locations, they basically could have filmed all of this within like a 20-foot radius.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't know.
Because all they're doing is they're changing kind of trees around.
That's right.
And then when you get to this, and like literally the finale of the film is all set around this location.
Yeah, it's more.
You just think, well, they could have moved to, but then it's the.
Then you got the wide shot when the Predator just goes apeshit and starts shooting everything, and you see how the scale of it.
Yeah, sure. Well, then I think that it would have been location, but I think that you've got the Evil Dead phenomenon again, where you end up with the film where all of you only got the one actor left now.
Yeah. And you got because it's a final finale. You need a better sense of control over everything. So, you're probably right. I mean, it made to be a mix of things, Second unit stuff for the on set, and then on a set, offset locations would be.
I think you're right. I think that they've probably built this tree and then put it on location.
bleeding bastard. It's surprising how the optical effect of the Predator's camouflage is stood up really well, even in 4K. It's really nice.
It's really.
There's
great.
always that thing when you did see Blu-ray for the first time, and you see like an old movie with optical effects. You go, oh god, that's a bit wobbly. And you see the matte lines, whatever.
Yeah.
And some films hold up better than others. So this has certainly held up very well.
But also what happens here with the mud is the mud dries off because of the heat of the explosions.
Yeah.
And then cracks...
Start picking it off.
Yeah.
I'll get a bit itchy.
Cracks start to show and then...
Look at that. Could that be a miniature?
No.
No. You always tell by the water, isn't it, really? You can tell something's a miniature.
It's... yeah, come on. Yeah. They had a great location scout. He's found them everything they need.
But it's like, oh, bollocks, I can't cheat anymore. I can't hide.
I know, well...
He's a right cheating bastard, really.
I know, it's not fair, I don't think. He doesn't play, like, fairly.
No, he doesn't. And at the end, he's like, nah, I'm going to blow myself up.
But
I know it's to hide his existence. He wasn't actually there, but it's still like, I've lost now, so I'm going to blow myself up, and you may die in the process.
I really like...
Unless you're a fast runner.
I really like the look of the Predator in this film. In a way that they haven't managed to recapture. I know in Predators, they're all very... I mean, he looks...
They made an effort to make the Predator in Predators look identical to this one because they use the same mould, but the bigger ones, it just looks stupid.
They're very chunky. And I think also in the Alien versus Predator movie...
They've got wrestlers in suits, haven't they?
But they also look like they're in huge, uncomfortable foam suits. And the masks don't look right. And then also the actual Predator face masks don't look right. And there's something about the body design on this which actually looks like an actual body.
Yeah.
Like, like they've maybe painted a body, whereas later on it looks like people in suits. It's obviously Kevin Peter Hall again in Predator 2.
Yeah.
Although it's a different Predator.
But it was the thing is that you put someone who's either slim, tall, whatever, but they always got to be slim. Because you're going to be putting extra mass on you. Yeah, so the same with Peter Weller. He was like thin as a rake in RoboCop.
Yeah.
He was toned, but he wasn't... He was just like bony all over, really. But that's how he could fit in that suit. You can't have a muscly guy put in that suit. It just looks stupid.
I've never actually thought about that before, but yeah, he is quite small looking in the early scenes before he gets his brains blown out.
I think it was what's the guy who did voice of Optimus Prime?
Oh, Peter Cullen. Is that his
name?
name?
He does the
Does he do the voice of the Predator?
Yeah, he does the clicking sort of crab noise and.
Does he?
Yeah.
How would I not have known that? It's
crazy.
I mean, this is because it's out of focus. Do you think now they're using?
This looks more like a set.
That looks. Well, I think this probably is a set. Don't you think now? Because it's so specific for what they need.
Yeah.
But then also, I think that the Predator blood, looks more like.
It's not optically improved, is it? It's actually glowing stuff.
I think that they've used glow sticks. I guess it didn't show up that great in the daytime.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, that's why it had to be optically enhanced.
He just looks so cool. I mean, this is such an iconic role, and also he's not being a Terminator. Do you know what I mean? It's just like with Red Heat, they kind of cast him as this emotionless Russian, and they were kind of like. It's almost like he got cast because of Terminator, where they go, yeah, he can do this sort of role.
Yeah.
Whereas in this movie, he's like, now it's a silent performance, but basically he is emoting all of the emotions that he needs for the entire film. Yeah, he starts off the film like really cocky and sort of like busting everyone's balls, but he's also like a strong leader. I just think it is hands down as a performer, his greatest role. I think
Yeah.
it's almost a shame. Well, I think it is a shame that basically he's going to live out his days rehashing Terminator over and over again. When I think that he probably doesn't realise how beloved he is. But I would say the reason he's turned down all the sequels to this is that he knows that this is maybe his masterpiece.
Possibly. I mean, he had shown an interest in Predator 2, but I think it was scheduling because he had it was Total Recall going on, and there was Kindergarten Cop before that.
Also, yeah, he's doing Terminator 6, isn't he? I don't think he really gives a shit about his legacy. I think
It'd always come back for James Cameron if you need. Well, Terminator would always come back. Well, he came back for.
And even if James Cameron isn't involved, actually,
no, really, no. He's written. It's got 4 other people writing that script.
Oh God,
James Cameron, I think, barely has his fingerprints on that. And if it is shit, he'd be like, "Hey, it's not my problem. I didn't direct it."
He did the same thing for the other Predator film, the other Terminator films. He used to come out and he used to, they'd wheel him out and he'd say, "I think this is as good as my one." And then it'd come out, it'd be rubbish, and then he'd go, "Yeah, I didn't mean it."
He did have a T3 and T5, didn't he? And Arnold's slated Salvation. I thought Salvation was probably the better.
But that's the one that he wasn't in. I think they're rubbish.
It's not good. It's not a brilliant film, but it's out of 3, 4, and 5. 4's better.
I mean, you can do anything you want with the Terminator films.
Yes.
But they can only exist as chase movies. So it's just weird, And I'm not that's the thing. It's like, well, we all want to see the future war. And I was just like, I don't want to see the future war. I'm not interested. You've hinted at it, and that's enough for me to think, fucking hell. But I don't need to, and when you do see it in Salvation, it's not what you're expecting.
Well, no, it's like a Mad Max world, isn't it?
I never understand either why you have those giant robot. I know we're talking about Terminator now, but where you have the giant robots that are 60 feet tall and they still have arms and legs like humans, and you go, well,
when to send that back in time.
I understand why the T800 and the T1000 look like humans, so they can infiltrate.
Yeah.
No one's looking at a fucking 60-foot human going, "Oh yeah, come in, Barry." It's just there's no reason for it to look designed like a human, know, because it would be doing a different job. And what does it do? It shoots motorbikes, human-sized motorbikes, out of its wrists, and you go, "That's fucking insane that you've got that in your film," and not in a good way. It's rubbish.
This is. Obviously, we saw the Predators reveal a short while ago where it's probably the best the Predators ever looked, even with all these sequels and stuff. It's never looked as good as that first shot when he takes his mask off.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It's a real monster. It's like a real being.
Yeah. It's all gooey and
Yeah.
There's shots here. People think this is Jean-Claude just sort of doing the pickup stuntman stuff, but I don't think probably not. But I mean, it looks like Van Damme. Where was it? He gets hit and he gets thrown or something like that. If you pay attention, you may see something that looks a bit like Van Damme.
Okay, well, I can either do the commentary or I can pay attention, right? But you're not going to have one of the. I love the way his breathing is like that.
It's interesting because now it's gone from you can see the heat of him. Now the heat's gone. It's maybe it's getting cold.
It's a fully realised creature. I think it's absolutely incredible. It's iconic in exactly the way that the 1930s Universal monsters were. It's just such a great design. Same with the Alien, and
it's a great high concept. It's the 80s were full of that. It was wonderful.
Really, yeah, especially as it originated from as a joke. It's kind of like we've written a plot down on the back of a cigarette carton.
I love how he's like, "Come here, come on, kill me,
come on, kill me,
do it now."
And
the Predator's fills the thing, goes, "Nah, I'm not going to go that way."
Are you fucking kidding me?
yeah, I can feel it's a bit spiky. I'm not going to go that way. Might ruin my hair.
But that's a really great moment where it's just sort of like, oh fuck.
But the audience don't know Arnold's got a backup plan. Big tree.
Yeah, but I don't understand what the plan is. What is the plan? The plan is that little stick is going to drag him into the spikes.
Well, it's a trip, isn't it? It's a trip wire, and it'll just fall on his head and stab him.
No.
Yeah.
No, is that it?
That's supposed to fall down and get him. It's like a spike.
No, I think that little stick is meant to drag him up into the...
No.
That's what I think.
Oh.
So when he kicks it out and the tree drops down, you go, surely that was your original plan, right? To get him underneath that log. Like, out of all the places in the jungle that he could stand, you stood in the worst place, mate. Oh God.
Log in the face.
It's going to leave a mark.
I love how he's completely like wiped out and you see the logs moving. He's just
Knackered.
like, for fuck's sake, get up again. Right, get a big rock. That'll do. That'll sort him out.
It is, it's just a really good film. You know, it's like, I just say that, this is one of my favourite films of all time. It's my,
It's my go-to action movie. I think really to sort of if it's I've watched it so many times, but it never gets boring, and it's you stop watching. You haven't watched it for like 6 months, and then someone just goes, "I'll just watch Predator." You're like, yes, there's never this kind of you think about the movie in your head and think, "Oh, that bit's a bit boring." This bit's boring. There isn't. Sometimes you see a film, you see advertised on an old film, you think, "Oh." You think, should I watch this? You go, no, there's a bit coming up. I'm not really interested in it. I won't bother.
Yeah.
You kind of go through it in your head when you cycle through your movies. Sometimes
It's just thoroughly entertaining. It's a roller coaster ride.
It's to me. It's also up there with RoboCop. There's not one scene in the movie that should be trimmed. Whatever. It's perfectly tightly edited.
Sure.
Directed
I'm like
film.
that with this
Right.
and Mr. Nanny.
Shut up, you not.
That's my first favourite film, and then it's this, and then everything I've said for the last hour and a half is null and void now. It's like,
You said Mr. Nanny.
you're an idiot. No, I'm joking. Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. Amazing movie. This is great. I don't understand all the... Well, it's kind of like this...
It's Big Trouble in Little China Lightning.
Yeah,
I love how a log can protect you from a blast.
Now, this over here, this guy...
The guy's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's sort of...
This guy,
Yeah.
that's Kevin Peter Hall.
Yeah. Oh my! Yeah, I must say that the matte painting's a little bit
I love it.
off,
I like
but they show it for like a second.
They remind me of those scenes of Aliens when they're in the dropship.
Oh, when they leave the planet.
No, when they're going into the planet or leaving the planet. Either or.
That's all cotton wool. Those clouds are, aren't they?
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I love it. It's movie magic.
It's movie magic. Yeah,
There he
yeah,
is,
exactly.
stood there, hands on his hips. Done it again.
Done it again. Yeah.
Destroyed another jungle.
Greenpeace are going to be very annoyed.
But like the sequel potential was that that he gets some sort of cancer because of he was too close to a nuclear bomb, and he becomes and you go, I'm not sure that's the reimagining that I require for a sequel.
No, it's quite a depressing kind of introduction again of the character, bringing him back. He always got cancer. Oh, great.
And then the whole thing was that they filmed like 3 endings, didn't they, for
Predator 2?
Predator? No, for The Predator.
Oh, yes.
So the original ending was written for Dutch to turn up at the end and say to the kid, "Come with me." And
I think it should have really, if you want continuity, it should be Adrian Brody. That's how he got off.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Any of them.
I wouldn't have complained that much, but having a sort of...
I would rather link a shit film to another shit film than a shit film to a masterpiece. But then when that wasn't available, they were like, well, what if it's Ellen Ripley?
They said, did they have Newt?
And then it was Newt. This is it, where they're all like, he winked at the camera. He's just like, hey, you have been watching the British Empire. There he is, just enjoying life. Yeah, he gobbed. All right.
What a bit?
Cheers. No smile from Bill.
No, I don't get no smile.
Here she is. A glamour shot. She's just loving being there. Hey. My next film will be Happy Gilmore. And I should say, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Brilliant. And also starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Am I saying his name right? Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
So then it was like Newt that appears at the end, and then it was just like, oh, none of that.
They disbanding Alien 3 where she's dead.
And then it was,
in the past.
Yeah, fucking mental. And then it was, it's like. And then it was. It ended up being like the Power Ranger suit that they ended up with.
Oh god,
the Iron Man suit.
That was really
I just thought that felt. I mean, it was just terrible. This film.
What about Michael? Okay, what about Michael Bean should have came out? That'd be an interesting crossover.
What if Mr. Bean came out? That would be an excellent crossover. It would be like not only is it Predator 6, but it's also Mr. Bean 3. I mean, yeah, I really do love that movie. The Greensmen. That's Frank Mitchell, German Ramirez.
So they're the ones
Francisco
who were basically
Ramirez.
rearranging that forest.
Is that what they were? Oh, yeah, right. I thought they were the guys wearing the green outfits, but it would have been red outfits because of all the jungle, wouldn't it?
They'd be the Redsmen, wouldn't they? Then
There'd be the Redsmen, which is actually Arnold Schwarzenegger's favourite band at the time, the Redsmen. They were a little R&B outfit and used to play along. Mario Ramirez.
There you go, Craig R. Baxley, director, stunt coordinator. So, mate.
I thought it was him. Oh, and Jim Hunt was the gaffer. Yes.
Oh,
you could tell.
Can't go wrong with Jim Hunt, can you?
Creature Effect. I mean, it's just Steve Patino. Robert Kurtzman.
That name rings a bell. Oh, yes. Greg, is it Greg Nicotero, whatever it is? Or
is he the
K&B
is he the
bunch?
Kurtzman from K&B?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Any final thoughts on that, Oliver?
What on that guy's name?
Yeah.
He's a good makeup guy. Here we go.
On the movie.
He did some good slime effects on the Predator's face.
I think that is one of the best monsters put on screen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I mean,
that's the thing. If you've got one monster, you can all those efforts go into one design, one creature, one where you've got multiple monsters, that things begin to sort of like you can't. You've got the hero monster, and everything else is kind of not as good.
I just think that it's been a while since there's been an iconic design like that.
It's true. Yeah, I mean,
this film was shot entirely in Puerto Vallarta.
Mexico.
I can't pronounce any of that.
What about Giga's Species?
Are you kidding?
Is that bad? That's pretty bad.
That's terrible.
I'm trying to think any other monsters that have come out that have been really impressive.
No.
Oh, there you go. What, everyone? If you've got any ideas of any other monsters outside of Predator and Aliens, send a postcard to BBC London. Care of Andy Peters.
He will get that post, but he will also be confused.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the commentary. Me and Nick will be back with some more in the coming weeks. Probably, I'd say, Evil Dead 2 or something, Army of Darkness. Is that what you want to do?
I don't mind.
You don't mind. Well,
it's just nice to get out.
As I mentioned in my Evil Dead commentary, you can find Nick's radio podcast on Fubar Radio. You can find links below where he discusses all sorts of movies, TV shows, and he's got guests every week.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Good guest. I was on it 2 weeks ago. There you go. Now he's on my show. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, everyone, take care and goodbye.
Bye.